I hate when guys text you, did you take the plan B? No. I forgot.
How's it?
I'm going to take your husband and fuck him 6 weeks from Sunday. Maybe when I'm done with him, you can have him back. If he wants to come back.
Dara.
This doesn't concern you. This is between me and your wife.
Benga, are you going to let her speak to me like this?
Oh, he can't help you. Now I take it that we will not need to have this conversation again.
Darling.
Welcome to another session here on the Chaos Rain channel. I go by the name Chaos Rain here. And tonight, we're going to have this discussion. A discussion that sometimes... Okay. We got some new service. Interesting. Anyway, we got some, looking at certain subjects and looking at hand. And really, we can have this discussion. I think personally, this is one of the discussions that I remember one particular elder had before he transitioned back in 2021. But I think it's much deeper than that. And I might play some call-in show that went by, but it leads more to the bigger point about this subject. And I might just open this up a little early. You know what I'm saying, get people's thoughts. Not sure I'll get tonight, but we shall see. We shall see. I'm just going through some things right now. And I'm just looking at my Discord service. As you know, Discord is available now. Please join me on Discord. Let's see. I'm checking things. Yeah, I'm doing some checking. More. Oh wow. Yeah, this Discord be crazy. I tell y'all guys. If y'all not on Discord, y'all messing out. I know Twitter's popping because Twitter, you could go live on Twitter now. But really, truly, Discord is where it's at still. I mean, I don't care what anybody tell me. I still rock with Discord personally, but that's just me. It's just me. Anyway, let me shut this off. Kind of want. All right. Okay. And let me see if anywhere else to post this. I know it's a lot of people are waiting for this. Oh, my fault. Let me make sure I'm doing a little cleanup in the studio. Switch to the camera. Checking everything. Make sure everything's going good. Let's see what's going on here. And I'm just giving people a few minutes before I start. Yeah. Wait, what's this? I got something new. All right. Well, I'm just going through some things. Switching camera. All right. So let me give you the layout. Everybody, if you so kindly can, follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7. Also, follow me and add me as a friend on Facebook, Eric Rain on Facebook, and join the Discord service. Be the one of many of the Chaos Orders, where you restore the order in which the world living today. Join Chaos Reign on Discord. Those links are on the About section on the YouTube page of Chaos Reign channel. Okay, so look how we 12 minutes in it. So let's do a quick breakdown, and I'll go into my subject at hand. I could say fair use for this one. So let me find the audio of it. Here we go. Actually, let me wind back. Make sure everything's wind back on this one. Hold on.
What's your name? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Now, as you know, this is one of the generals himself. Had a call in with a particular lady, and it just leads on to a bigger subject. As you know, the subject tonight, which is the very much unpopular subject, does the white skin remove all imperfections? Now, as y'all know, we, as a people in the West, we have an epitome and negativity towards ourselves, not only from our complexion, but everything that's negative, blackity black. But much more deep psychologically than what you think, people. It's something that, in my opinion, this is more, we can go now into the genetic side of things, besides natural training on what our eyes and our ears will fool us about how we view and see ourselves. And one of the biggest issues that people never understand, that not only a lot of black men get caught up, but also a lot of black women get caught up, is that in our beliefs and our thinking, that we think anything that's light, bright, and damn near white is superior, and it's like godlike, to the point we make a conscious effort to touch it, smell it, taste it, and get as close as possible to whiteness. So, no further ado, I'll run this little audio clip and give some commentary. I think this is good.
Is there a way that you can...
Hold on. Make sure my audio is working. Yeah, it looks like it's working. All right. Let's go ahead.
Is there a way that you guys can go ahead and go overseas and like leave black women alone, or are you going to keep...
Well, I don't need to go overseas. I got women here in America. I don't have to travel overseas. But go ahead. I'm listening.
Now, as you know, the conversation, as y'all listen in, you know, I've covered this before about, you know, men exploring not only the options, but also them going out the country to go seek either, you know, potential wives or for sex. Either or, you know, in the mind that most us people, we always, especially men, look for better opportunity or something better. And most likely, as you could hear the rhetoric and the conversation, ladies, is not always something that looks phenotypically black on the average. Don't be fooled what these dudes are telling you. In retrospect of current events, or what is seen that as much people, because we live in the Western world and we all know white is right, white is best, white is superior, white is godlike here. So let's go further in. And mind you, this lady is advocating, you know, most majority or some or good portion of black males to go out there and, you know, leave them here to the so-called beasts we call the Caucasian man, the white man that they say they so doubt, love, and care and cherish. Let's continue.
I'm listening, dummy. I'm listening, dummy. I'm listening, dummy. I ain't listening, you dummy. I ain't listening, you bimbo. I ain't listening to you, dummy. Talk with common sense.
We're not compatible. We're not compatible, and we don't want each other. So we're doing our thing to get away from you guys. Why don't you guys go over?
Well, what do you do?
Now, the one thing with this lady talking about compatibility. Compatibility goes many ways. As you know, most people have certain things that they don't like about the opposite sex, or they're more attracted to that draws a sense of compatibility. And that could be a plethora of things. That could be how they look phenotypically. Like, do you have the more smoother, curly, or more straight hair? Or even go as far as you look more or less black. Even to the point that, you know, you might not have the broad nose, the thick lips. And when people talk about compatibility, usually it starts with what we see in the outside, then inside most likely. The inside is usually after we know we enter and we copulate, meaning we have sex. Then everything else we try to find good, bad comes after the lovemaking on the average. And people could question me and say I'm saying some bullshit lie, but I'm telling you it is the truth. People don't hear waste of time look for character. They're looking at how you look, present wise, what you appeal to birds with the eyes. Then everything else after the sex comes second nature. So let's keep going.
Though, what is it that you're doing though? What is it?
I
That...
suck white man. I suck white dick.
Oh, well, you're a bed. But you're. But hold on. You're a bed wench. You're expected to listen. You're a bed wench. You're expected to suck on white penis. Tell us something that we don't know. That is what bed wenches do. Suck on white penises and praise white men. Tell us something that we don't know.
White man's penis every night.
I know. I know you do. Tell us something that we don't know. We know that you love the white man's penis. We know that you're a bed wench and a ghetto gagger. We know that.
Now, in regards to the white phallus, we all know it's not really factual, unfortunately. Because as you hear from the rhetoric from a lot of women that does content or doesn't do content, they don't really dream of putting their mouths and saying they only deal with the white phallus on the average. And the reason why I'm saying this, and I want people to get fooled with the gaslighting, is because they don't find it much of appealing attractionness as a whole. Because if it was really about the sex, we all know most men will give dick for free. Hell, you see some dudes, even non-black men, giving dick for free as well. And once they get it, depending on how your box is, they could either do two things. They stay around a little longer to smash, or they keep it pushing. Not saying the black male will do the same, but we all know that they always talk about this good box. It goes a long way. They're not lying, but let's be honest. That's the only thing that most of them, when they look at the opposite sex, that's where they're more focused on. In regards to the sisters, the black women especially, they only view and see her as the object and need sex. All race of men, not just the black man. And I think that's one thing that's been missed throughout the dialogues, that non-black men, white men have sex too. And he has just as much sex, maybe more now, because, all he had to do is show up to another community and he will get sex. So I noticed that there was an article as I continue on, and make sure you guys like the stream. Please like the stream. That the article talks about lonely single men. If I never said this, I'll say this now. When we look at any hit piece, whether it is factual or not, always keep in mind that if they write anything of any substance, the first you always got to pay attention, do they use an image of the person? Because image matters. Image is everything. You're drawn not only to the words, which most people don't really draw anything on words if it's not bold and printed where you could see it with your two eyes, but they always get more receptive or reciprocal to things that have images. Remember, one image is 1,000 images. And it goes much more of a longer way than one or a paragraph or a few words. Words don't go 1,000 images to people's head. People recognize visual things, pictures, images. And the image picture that was represented in regards to this article was no owner, not only, but a non-black male, a Caucasian man, white man, for lack of better terms. So let's continue.
Tell us something we don't know.
Oh my fucking God, hell yeah. You aren't lying. So why don't you go overseas? Like, who's stopping you? Like, seriously, we want you to go. We're not compatible. Black women and black men are not compatible at all. We don't want each other. And when I see a black man, I cringe.
Actually, black man and black woman do want each other. How? When it comes to the sex, the lovemaking, the effing. That's the only time when it comes to play now in the 21st century. Now, for the last century, it might hold some substance depending on your background, your upbringings. Maybe when we look at black relationships, it's a little different. And it started to really change around the 90s, personally, from what I'm noticing. But really, there was some purpose in our interactions. Now, if you look at today in the modern era, everything, as you see, especially in the West, is all transactional. And you know how transactions go. They go one way and go the other way. And I don't want to say it, but that's what it is. I don't like the transactional situation of how we see ourselves today. But let's be blunt honest. If it was not somewhere I do for you and you do for me, and there has to be exchange of currency, it don't seem like nothing was gotten done, personally. And if you look at ladies today, and you hear about a lot of dudes been reading about the foodie dates, the free meal, and all this stuff, that our brothers don't really want to spend no money to know so they're not getting up in return in the modern era we're in today. So how you look at today in these so-called false relationships or any non-relationships of any nature is, if you do not give me sex and I spend, let's say, $50 or more, which, because I doubt most people say are dating and spending over $100 more, depending on your state. They're looking at spending something for less and getting their phallus stuck. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's how they're rolling right now. I'm just going through some things. And personally, I mean, like I said, I'm not really into the transactional thing because it diminished really what people should be interacting, just know each other, and eventually it should lead to something much more substantial. But because, like I said, how the dating scene is and how things are operating now, the transaction makes sense today, you know. And I don't want it like this way, but that's how young people and people that's millennials, especially younger millennials, are moving today. Now, I wish their market was a little bit more balanced out, but you know, in reality, there's nothing considered balanced today. So, all right, so I'm just going through some things. I was looking. All right, let me check this out. All right, so I'm going to continue the tape. Let me see. Where's my tape? Okay, here we go. Let's continue.
Like, seriously. Who's stopping you, though?
Listen,
Like,
nobody. Listen. I don't have a problem getting women in the States. I don't have a problem pulling a woman when I travel. So that's not a personal problem for me. That is not a personal problem for me. Why don't you say something that actually matters?
Well, there's a personal problem if you keep bringing up black women. Like,
well, tell Cynthia G. Why don't you tell Cynthia G to stop talking about black men? It's mighty funny that you black women will tell me to stop talking about black women, but you won't tell Cynthia G to stop talking about black men.
Oh no, I don't really follow Cynthia G. I follow people that are much more extreme.
Well, why don't you tell these divestors, bed wenches and ghetto gaggers to stop talking about black men and continue to worship the white man who balls they gobble every night.
Now, that was that was funny. But like I said, as the caller says, she follows more extremist content creators. And y'all know the extremist content creators that's out here. Some a little bit outlandish. And all this thought like the men rhetoric could be harsh, but whew, these women, I don't know, man. I think they're up there just like the dudes. But they don't get flanked because when you talk about an attacking black man, it is quote unquote considered safe in the modern era. Matter of fact, it's so safe now that you can grow a big following if you talk about a set of black men and you do it in a way where it hurts on the mark to the point where that it sticks into them where they cry about certain content. But nonetheless, as you could tell, the woman's tongue is very sharp, fellas. Don't forget that. So at times, she'll say some things, and when I was look at whose tongue is sharper, men and women, I think women still got the edge in regards to their language. I mean, because let's be honest, you ain't gonna check her. You're gonna still like that message. You're gonna accept it, and you're gonna do nothing. It is what it is. Now, most dudes will come back with counteractions of certain argument and talking points the women putting out here, which they normally do anyway. But let's be honest. Can you really win a back and forth with a woman today? I mean, really? I mean, they have a certain thinking of how they view the normal or modern black man today in good or bad faith. And you are one of many men that if you're not that person, it should not bother you. But, the rhetoric stays for a purpose, rather it's them to make money or just to shit on you. It is what it is. Oh, wow. Yeah, I see there's some weirdness going on. Okay. Let's continue on to this tape. Let me see if everything links in out. Okay. All right, so matter of fact, let me drop the link here. All right, let's continue.
Huh?
We have to recruit other black women.
Why don't you teach these bed wenches and divestors to stop talking about black men and continue to worship the white men who balls they gobble every single night?
Because we have to recruit other black women. This thing is getting bigger and better every day.
And guess what? And guess what? And guess what? And guess what? When no white men kick you to the curb, you are not welcome in the black community. I teach black men, when you meet a black woman that talks like this, she's never welcome in the black community. When she gets smutted out by white men, when she gets dogged out by white men, you better not accept her funky ass back in the community.
Now, another thing in regards to the rhetoric, how she's saying, like many women, and we could say dudes as well, that this is what we look at today as a recruitment process. As y'all know, y'all examine content creators, depending how big the follow is. It's always a form of either indoctrination or recruitment. It's like creating your own little mini cult. Diversities are creating their own cults, and any other young women to be signing up. And on men's side, manosphere or whatever, what you want to call it, creating their own little following as well. And they're going to be young dudes and many dudes that's middle age will follow as well. All content, as you see with your own two eyes, is always some form of message pushing and recruitment. Because followers are the ones that you have a leg up when somebody could accept your message where they'll follow you. Even to the point they'll follow the rhetoric. And trust the rhetoric will get either more degenerate or more uplifting. Nonetheless, that's how it works. But to go even further, to even they're talking about the message gets stronger, right? I'm not how sure how the message is getting stronger now where people that don't have their own thinking are not really thinking the implications of accepting any form of language and spilling into rhetoric. Case in point, I hear now that most school systems now are watching so-called master language amongst their students. Now, in regards to focusing, I'm hoping they're also focusing on the rhetoric that the women are putting out as well. Because if they're paying attention to what these boys are saying, then by default, you also pay attention to the girls, what they're saying too. Because majority of our young people are being very much heavily influenced through social media. In case in point, the reason why that is because a lot of parents today have been very lazy in regards to raising and grooming their son and daughters. They let their son and daughters, on the average default, do what they want. Now, a lot of people are going to give me pushback and think that's not true and might cuss me out in the comment section. But prove to me now that how many of these kids now that's not so influenced that you don't see them talk about this outside the household. I'll wait. And not only saying, but saying very loosely where it's very not pleasing to the ears. And let's be honest. Your children that is born, the last children for the last decade, even ones in the previous 15 and more years, are the tech age children that know how to use these gizmos better than the average man and woman that was born in the Gen X silent, actually by the baby boomers to Gen X to the early millennials. Well, most millennials understand certain things with how tech works to a degree, but mostly all these technology that we have at our disposal that we use, from the Androids to the iPhones to the laptops to the even tablets and etc., is more based on younger people's thing because they're more brought forth in the world already understanding how the technology works. They are much infused with the technology without their knowledge of how it works. And if you're not a parent yourself that's catching up and paying attention and following the trends, by all means, you are going to be really, and I mean really loosely behind. And a lot of parents got to understand you have to be catch up to the trends, the technology, all the things that could affect you and your loved ones. We should not be lazy in the 21st century, especially when it comes to children and technology. Because now you've seen the red as pushed in the internet, social media, etc., etc., etc. They are being heavily influenced by not only the men, but also influenced by the women in a very negative and bad way. Which really, truly, you think institutions and governments going to step in? No, they only step in once their bottom line and bottom dollar is not affected. They're going to let all messages be put out front. And I'm telling you this personally because you don't understand how the game really works out here. They're not just pushing this out here just for the sake of pushing it out. They push out here for more further programming and indoctrination. And a lot of people, unfortunately, are heavily indoctrinating not only themselves, but are the young people in a very bad way. To a point now, if school systems have to watch what these kids are saying because certain things on the internet is put out here en masse, and let you know they're not getting nothing in good, anything good in regards to their psychological development, personally. And you know me, in regards to young children and their indoctrination, you have to be very serious and mindful what you say as a content creator. It is your, especially if you start growing followings very fast. And the more followers get, especially once you start touching roughly the range of 50K followers on any social platform, whether it's on YouTube, IG, even TikTok, you gotta be very careful on what you're putting out here now. I can't say Facebook because Facebook is not that platform where you could grow people over a certain threshold. They limit you if you have a Facebook friend page to only 5K followers or friends. And the reason why Mark Zuckerberg designed this way because they don't want you to start growing a bigger following if you know how to use social media right. And majority of people today don't know how to use social media properly. They only here just to sit there, watch, post, and gossip. and don't understand social media is a very powerful tool. This tool, you could easily communicate with millions to almost billions of people across the globe. And you use it in regards just to, how can I say it, just to entertain yourselves. And it's much more powerful than that. It is very much more powerful than that. But we don't think of that because we think that because we open our mouths and talk about some either nonsense or something that has some substance, that we're not influence people. But you are, and the bigger the follower, the greater influence. That's why, if you think about it. But before I go any further, let me continue playing. No, in fact, yeah, I'm gonna continue playing this before I keep moving forward. And I think one thing before I continue, the man said best from the voice you recognize that majority of black men should not be accepting women that have divest, which I have no problem with that. I might agree with that. But here's the trick. How you know they divest? Oh yeah, actually it's easy. You can know how they divest. It's simple. That's simple. But let's be honest. Can you really say don't mess with these women that divest personally? Because let's be honest. Most black people, black males especially, are still sleeping with these women. Hell, they're sleeping with some baby moms. So how do you really give a consequence to a divester when you, few black males, or we could say mostly majority of them, are simps and giving up the dick to these women that knows that they get the dick and still talk shit in your face? That seemed like an even exchange of energy, an exchange of things. You give her, you get what you want, and she get what she wants. She gets that phallus, maybe a baby at the end of it if you're not careful, and she has the capability, which she's exercised her options to cuss you out. It is worse than double-edged sword, as I see it. But anyway, so I don't think you could really give a serious consequence personally, but that's just me.
But we're married to white men. We're not just fucking white.
Most black women are not married, period. There's only a small percentage. There's only a small percentage of black women who are married. And there's even a smaller percentage of black women that are married to white men. But come with something better.
12% of us are married to white men, and the numbers of 2022.
12% of black women are not married to white men. That's bullshit.
Yes, it is. Look it up. All you have to do is Google it.
12% of black women are not married to white men. That is bullshit. And even if it was,
now, I don't mind that they throw a number, but as I look at it here, majority people show some form of receipts. I always get red flags and question marks when somebody say Google things, because when you type up things in Google gives you 1,000 to almost 1,000,000 hits. Some at times to find certain information, you gotta be very selective and very keyword in your codify of find keywords in the search engine. And even that they won't find a certain article that you're talking for or you bring up front that you're looking for. So be careful of any man or woman that talk about, so you must Google it. I know that's the biggest cop out. I see a lot of people that's putting out content or in front of present people that when they first say something about Google it, I'm going to say you're lying and you made that shit up. Because you cannot give me a simple source. I prefer 3 sources that's consistent to really back up any claim. If there's any claim to be backed up, you're talking on your ass. And this applies to the men too, but let's be honest. We can't just throw things out here and tell people just to Google it. That's not enough. People need more. Googling will not really give an indication of what's going on out here in the environment, in my opinion. Let me see what's going on here. Interesting. Let's check this out, guys. Oh, that's done. Anyway, so I be wary, people, when someone says you must Google something. It's another gaslighting tactic. Say I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, and I don't have no receipts. So it's better off you to search throughout the internet to find what I'm talking about to validate that. And we don't live in no, just a search for ourselves. If you're posing a claim, you must show some form of or give some receipts, God willing, and stop running your damn mouth because you look stupid. But that's just me. Let me check. All right, let's continue.
True, those numbers are still fucking low. Listen. If white men really love black women, they could have wiped black women a long time ago. There's never been laws in America that stop white men for having a healthy relationship with a black woman. But there has been laws that was in place for hundreds of years that told white women you can't be with black men. So if the white men really wanted black women like that, they would have married you guys in large numbers a long time ago because there was nothing in place to stop them. Not a law, not a system.
Well, white guilt got in the way.
White guilt. And who created racism? Who created racism and hate in America?
Now, before we continue, make sure you guys like the stream. This is a serious question the man asked this lady. Who create racism? And it's going to lead to a more bigger point of why the white skin is. When you have white skin, you have you have what they call what is it? It removes all imperfections. An old quote from the one late Mr. Carroll. And really true, when he said that and kept repeating on his own little YouTube show or his own podcast, it said well, but I never really conceptualized that imperfections. Because people are not perfect, but why is it when us as people, we find that people that are not like us complexion-wise or lighter skin or damn near bright white, they can never do no wrong. And like always, it hit me because they are godlike to black people. They are the definition of perfection. There's nothing flaw or wrong, personally, with them. And I had to come to realization to really conclude on that. All right. So let's continue on. And make sure you like the stream.
Simple question. Who created racism and hate in America? Who created racism and hate in America?
That was 400 years ago?
Who and racism today? You didn't answer my question. Who created racism and hate in America? I'm waiting.
Now, don't be fooled. A lot of black women will answer direct questions. And there are some black men that will do the same too, depending on the question. It comes to show that when we're asking each other questions, we should at least give an honest answer. And if we don't know, we say we don't know. It's going to come to a point, no matter what your age or what status you are, you got to give actual answers. When you go around beating around the bush, especially when it comes to race, it's another great red flag that I tell most people, men and women, pay attention when people don't want to ask these or answer these questions. I remember the one they call I think it's called the Saint or whatever name. Is that his name? Yeah. How he was asked a direct question about pimping. That why yourself is a pimp. And he gone around and tried to bring it back to the person for whatever reason about his image, where he looks, and not answering the goddamn fucking question. Pay attention, gentlemen and ladies. When people don't answer simple question or just an obvious question that does imply for a direct answer, be wary of that. Be wary of that. Keep in mind.
Who created racism and hate in the beginning of America? I'm waiting.
Maybe I never said the history was squeaky clean.
No, I'm actually.
See that white skin removes all imperfections.
So I'm asking you to give me a simple answer. Who's responsible for slavery, racism, segregation, and hate in America? Who's responsible?
We want to know. You want to know Arabs. Arabs. Look it up.
Oh,
Wish had some sound effects. Arabs are white. As much as I don't want to say that, the Arabs that they talk about back then and now, those are majority white Arabs. I don't know what to say. Hell, they're enslaving black people now in some parts of the Middle East and Africa right now as we speak. The slavery with them has not really stopped. And it's never going to stop, personally. Why? It's because, like any slave trade, they got their understanding and ideals of how to deal with chattel slavery from the Sandman, the Arab man. And that's the honest truth. Only thing when the Europeans start engaging in slavery, they take it a step further than what the Arabs, the non-blacks, took and did. And a good book to read about slavery, which I'm reading and took a little break reading, is called what do they call it? Let me find the name of it, guys. Kind of want to run my mouth. Find the name of this book. Oh, Slavery and Social Debt by Orlando Patterson. Very lengthy book, very good read. It goes into the history and the definitions of slavery, etc. A must-get book for those that want to understand more about why slavery and social debt are one and the same. So, but like I said, this white man's skin, mostly, and we say white woman, but mostly white men, because most black people are more receptive to the male than anything else. His skin removes all imperfections. So let's continue.
Oh, do you guys see how she wanted to keep the white man out of this? Oh,
Yeah.
She blamed it on the Arab and said, I ain't going to talk about the white man. I'm going to blame it on the Arab. I ain't going to blame it on the white man. I'm going to blame it on the Arab.
And because Arabs, unfortunately, are white. It is what it is.
Like, just look it up. We've been indoctrinated. Everything we learned is a lie. Everything that we've learned is an absolute lie. We've been indoctrinated to demonize the white man. The white man hasn't done anything.
Wow. Now, mind you, if I heard a black man talking about not only the white man, but also the white woman in the same fashion with this caller is, I had to shake my head as well. And trust me, there are some black males out there that will defend some of this bullshit for whatever good reason. Not saying it does not exist. I say it's possibly out there, but most of the times when most people are still trying to get in beds and trying to get close to white skin, they're not going to go out their way and demonize the opposite sex, particularly opposite race. Because let's be honest, by doing so, you cut yourself off of any possibility of sex or any closeness physically and possibly financially with these other people. So, like always, you see people are going to double down in regards to what the Caucasian has done en masse, especially in America and abroad. And I get it. And I want people to really have a clear understanding why this is, because you have to protect what they call zaddy at all costs by Virgil Berry, which I created, but zaddy at all costs. And it is a necessity, because if you don't protect them, who will? And he knows that most black people, women, and some men, I would say men in general, but mostly it's usually women, are going to defend him at all costs. And that's just the honest truth, unfortunately. Let's continue.
The white man didn't enslave your ancestors. The white man didn't practice racism and hate. The white man didn't practice slavery. The white man didn't take generational wealth from black people and never paid them. So the white man ain't done a damn thing wrong, huh? Tell me one thing that the white man done that was wrong.
White men.
Name one thing that the white man done wrong in America. Can you do that?
Well, the only thing that a white man has done wrong is have white guilt.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, if any of you men or ladies could find me the black men that's kind of, defending this or defending other race people, please leave a comment in my comment section with this. I might do a video follow up on this if you can find a man that's defending this in mass, and if you can find me more than one, I'll appreciate it personally. This one I found this one really truly that came across me that even to the point where I had to create content on this is really saying something a more deeper issue personally. I don't see really anything of perfection of these people. I'm not sure why black people today more than ever defend them, and they're not even defending them or defending us. But it sure take a lot from us, and how the economy is getting tighter. I just don't know. I mean, it seems to me that we are very comfortable of allowing things to go the way it is now. I mean, by choice, personally. I mean that's how I see it. Hold on. White guilt. When somebody says white guilt, I mean I got side eyes some of these people personally. I mean, I don't know what that is. Do y'all? I mean, I'm just keeping 100. I mean, when sometimes talking about white guilt, I mean, these people are not guilty of what they see or view of you personally. Matter of fact, they are happy to know that when you defend them in a way, they feel more confident in what they're doing to you already. By choice now, What more could I say? Hold on. Where's that thing? Okay. Like I said, I don't see the significance defending certain people or said people. But everybody's different. Hold on. What is this? I'm trying to find something, guys. All right. But let's keep going on with this tape. Where is it? Okay.
Oh, okay. And why do you think white men have this white guilt? Why do they have white guilt?
Because you got a bunch of baboons sitting here crying and whining all day about racism.
And it's not based. So you mean to tell me? So you mean to tell me white men don't have white guilt based on what they've done throughout the history here in America? White men have white guilt based on the bullshit they've done here in America. That's why they have guilt. That's why he has a guilty conscience, because he understands what he's done here in America to a group of people that's never done anything to them. You're sick. You're pretty damn sick, and you have a mental issue. Hey, my nigga, listen. These divestors, ghetto gaggers, and bed wenches, they're pretty damn sick, man. This right here is a prime example of the sick. Witness the sickness. I want you guys to witness the sickness. Listen to this.
The sickness. Oh, God. You're so hilarious. Red Supreme. You're so hilarious.
But listen, how could you sit up here and not blame the white man for racism, slavery? He done that. Nobody told the white man enslaved. No. The white man enslaved your ancestors. The white man raped some of your ancestors. He lynched and hung some of your ancestors. And you won't blame none of this dysfunction in America on the white man, which is sad. No, it's not the past. Wait, listen. No, listen. If racism was dead, no. You said I want to live in the past. If racism was dead, you would have a point, sweetie. If racism and hate was dead, you would have a point. But racism and hate is still alive today. So, of course, we're still going to talk about it.
Yeah, and it's going to be around for as long as there's a lot of black people still in America. And not in America, they'll make some other form to, complain about niggas personally. It is what it is. I mean, I think when we look at racism personally, it's like another mating guard and another way of, making fun of people that's not in their race, so they feel good with it about themselves personally. Um, how I look at it is, you know, when they put out certain content, or they even talk about black people in some way, it's all for fun and games. It actually boosts their self esteem when they talk about us, make fun of us, or etc. I mean, it is what it is. I look at it personally as it makes them feel better at night, so that way they could, function. Personally, I'm just looking at this. All right, so let's continue, guys. I'm gonna finish up. Let me see. Yes, Kobe, you're right. And the funny thing about it, it is she be hanging around, listening to a lot of male content creators, especially black males, and she's already in, I guess, new relationship with a non-black man, but she still entertains the black man in a lot of social media space. For one reason, I don't know why, but I think it makes her feel good at night to really sit there and cuss and say things she say because she don't like what's come out the words of the black male for a reason. She is she is a work of art. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, yeah. I saw the flag. Yes, and let's be honest. You always gotta keep in mind, KW Don. When you see any woman, and we could say men too, but for the sake of conversation, you hear her on the line. They display a certain amount of either conservative, liberal thinking and actions, even to the point where they have to wear, the Confederate flag on their face or wear a part. You could tell right off the bat they're very much heavily programmed and indoctrinated. That everything that's white is right, beautiful, purity, godlike, and they'll look at themselves and their skin and look at others as evil, representation of the devil, dirty, bad, etc. It's all a mental issue. You got to look at yourself as something less than other. But it's obvious and it's actually normal in this Western culture because how black people and white people operate today, bro. For the world to remain as is, by the words of Mr. Amos Wilson, black people have to operate and move and function in backwardsness. Right? Everybody else is moving forward, we're moving backwards. And that's how they want to keep black people. And when you move backwards, you keep moving yourself behind, walking backwards. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, so let's continue. Where's my thing? All right, where's the tape? Okay, here's. Oh wait, I see more comments. All right, let me continue the playing the audio, and I'm gonna read your comments.
Well, black men are uplifting hate and racism today against black women. And so for that, I would say white men have nothing to feel guilty about. In fact, if a white man is guilty, I have nothing to do with him. I cut him out of my life.
But are you really? Are you really cutting the so-called Caucasian out of your life? You're cutting out one dude and you're jumping on the beds with another Caucasian that views and see you as nothing more than the object. I'm not saying most black men will do this too, but most black women don't understand how men think today, especially in America, and how things are moving. You're looked at and seen as objects. Not saying you as black women don't see the opposite sex as an object. And the reason why we think and operate like this because we think in individual mindset and look at ourselves as how we can get something out each other without doing much work. less resistance, in my opinion. The least resistance to get the outcomes. I don't have to give you nothing, but you're gonna give me everything. There's nothing a reciprocal in nature in regards to transactions or anything when we look at each other or operate with each other personally. So let's keep going. And like the stream, guys, to share it.
Oh, so you saying a white man that has done black people wrong and don't feel guilty about it, that's the type of white man you want. You like the slave man. Oh, I get it. It makes sense why you became a ghetto gagger. It makes perfect sense why you became a ghetto gagger, because ghetto gaggers don't hold white men accountable. Matter of fact, they worship white men for their sickness and don't hold them accountable. So I see why you became a ghetto gagger.
White guilty white man. I don't want a liberal guilty white man. I don't. That is such
You want a slave? You don't want a liberal guilty white man. You want a white man who thinks like the slave master. You want a white man who thinks similar to his slave masters, his ancestors. There were slave masters. That's the white man that you want. And this is how I know you don't have a problem with ghetto gaggers.
Yeah.
How many times have you been on ghetto gaggers? How many times have you been on ghetto gaggers?
Well, you know, at times he's kind of pushing it. Now, mind you, not every woman that's black that sucks white cock is on ghetto gagger. What they call ghetto gaggers on the average, you know, personally. But like I said, it's all fun and games when you know the back and forths. If you think about it. Personally, like I said, white guilt and white worship is all on an all-time high in America, unfortunately. Gentlemen and ladies. And you find many of them lurking around us. Some of us close friends and some of us that you probably work with. It comes with territory. And because of the power of social media, you can't hide it now. It's in plain daylight, unfortunately. Let me see these comments. Horse before the carriage, yes. And it says here, she does this to pander to white males and antagonize black males. Yep, of course. Her ex domestically abused her, causing to. And you know, it's good for you to mention that. And I think, do I have that? I don't have that on me. I remember the stream that you're talking about that she talked about that to another black woman or mixed black woman. Y'all know who I'm talking about? She kind of revealed what happened to her last relationship where this so-called Caucasian man beat her senseless and caused a miscarriage. But you don't see her double down. What you know she does, gentlemen? She went and go get another one. Not saying this could happen to her with a black mate, but let's be honest. She don't have no bad history dealing with black mates or black mates as boyfriends, or what she said for her experience. The only time she experienced real trauma and some sort of abuse is through this white male. Tells you her ability to accept and take abuse. And the funny thing, when she takes abuse, she gonna point the fingers back to you, black male. Because he abused me because of you. There's a lot of mental illness going on in our communities. Yeah. Please. We don't need to know the name of her. We get it. I know the stream you're talking about. KW Don. We're not gonna put the names of her on this channel. If you can, kindly, please. But I get your point. All right, let's continue.
professional.
How many times have you played? How many times you and your white boyfriend played sex play in the bedroom? Slave play. You was a slave and he was a slave master.
He's over 200 pounds and he likes to slap me around sometimes. And that's so what? I've been with the pushers.
Because you're a bad wench. Because you're a bad wench. You're a bad wench and a ghetto gagger who loves to be degraded by white men. I already knew that when you first started talking, baby. You a ghetto gagger and a bad wench who likes to get degraded by slave masters.
Passport. Go.
Now, mind you, most women today, they don't mind you gentlemen call them, the bed wench or get a gags today. It does really hurt a lot of sisters because, let's be honest, the shaming language will not work. Hell, they don't use shaming language enough to affect you when you make your decision. So don't expect your shaming language is going to be any different towards them. I think majority of people today when it comes to us as people. It's going to take more than shame to move and change our thinking and our directions, how we operate, not only towards each other, but outside the environment we're in. Because let's be honest, people are going to do what the hell they want, and they're hoping that some person won't say nothing negative about their actions and their decisions. But people talk, people have their opinions, and people are going to say some things that a lot of people not going to like. And a lot of people are going to have to accept it, regardless of what they think or feel about it. What's this? All right. Okay. So let's keep going. Oh wait, isn't it yeah, that lady, KW Dawn, if you can, I don't want the actual names of content creators because I know what you're talking about, especially her. And mind you, I'm gonna tell y'all a secret, guys. To a lot of these female content creators, we already know what the men bring to the content on social media, YouTube. We already get that, understand. We expect it. But when the ladies do the content, it's something that you're gonna expect something more outlandish and more extremist. Now, if you look at the more famous or more popular YouTubers, from the one that's trying to teach black women how to date and mate non-black men, you know who I'm talking about. They already said, she already said out her mouth that she had to take a step back on content personally because a lot of women, let's be honest, are so extreme that she cannot be associated with these extreme women because they're bad for business, especially politically. Very bad for business. And your famous content creator that say that they had to draw a distance between these women that, like you said, KW Don, that are putting out content in extremist fashion, even to the point putting avatars of, strange fruit. It lets you know, say that not every woman is down with certain women's rhetoric on social media and YouTube. They are making a far distance between them and themselves. Yeah, Miss Waterpool, Brian, yeah. Listen, you're gonna get a lot of people that's trolling on here. I'm just keeping real with you. And the trolling goes so deep. Words can't explain it. And personally, in my opinion, this is how I view things. If you have time as a woman and you're doing what you should be doing and you're in a relationship with a non-black mate, why are you still focused on black men? I know most black men that said that in different relationships and then they're in an interracial relationship. Or, I question this the same way too, because I gotta be somewhat fair. I can't be all one-sided. You know how I stay. I don't take sides, and I'm not that person. But let's say we had to have this conversation. Why the fuck are you still worrying about what the black man does? You already got your champion, your select mate. Everything should be good over that side. It should be peachy. But from what I'm hearing and what I'm noticing, personally, nothing is really peachy over the other side. It's the same bullshit that they're facing, and probably worse because most black mates feel they're entitled to your pussy babies, and they're entitled to everything, and you're gonna give them everything, and you better not get no back lip. They're so entitled that if they take and put hands on you, it's all for justification, personally. And they got other non-black mates that will defend them and protect them. Y'all guys remember Mr. Chad Wheeler? And that's only one example. And there's probably more. And there's many more that have done things to the sisters. And a lot of black women are not really talking about it. Matter of fact, they kept quiet because they said most black men do it anyway, so it doesn't matter. And that is foolish. Any form of serious violence towards women, all women should be rallying up. They should be in arms trying to call out and defend and do what's necessary for justice. But like I said again, if it's the non-black male and he puts his fist and give you 1-2 rounds and almost leave you into a serious state where you almost could have lost your life, and you don't say nothing, it goes back to the title. What the title says, does the white skin remove all imperfections? And the answer to this question is yes, it does. Let's keep going. Wait, let me see what's in the black female who goes into the divested community do it from an unhealthy standpoint. It will never yield a good result because majority of people are not healthy mentally and spiritually. So any decision we do and we make, it's always in a stance of hope to cope with untapped or unresolved traumas that we suffered. Whether it's the epidemic level or something happens to start within our families that cause our pains. It's one or the other. Let's wrap this video up or this audio up.
What's stopping you from getting your passport?
You don't know what I got. You don't know. Do you think a passport is an issue for me? You're dumb.
Well, I want all black men to move overseas and go find your Latina. Go away.
Why don't you continue to make your ghetto gagger movies so that you can star in why don't you continue to make your ghetto gagger movies so that you can get your next star role? We're gonna see you in the next Ghetto Gaggers. I guarantee you've been on Ghetto Gaggers, sex playing, being the slave, while the white man plays the slave master.
Okay. Absolutely not. I actually am friends on the side with Candace Owens, believe it or not.
Of course, she's a bad wench too. Of course, she's a bad wench too.
No, she's a smart bad witch, and that's how it's gonna go. We love to be bad witches because that's where we belong. That's where black women belong, okay?
Oh, okay.
We don't belong with black men.
Okay. Well, guess what? The feelings is mutual, baby. We don't want ghetto gagging bed wenches anyway, so go exactly where you feel like you belong. No black man in his right mind should deal with a ghetto gagging bed wench. You know what I mean? That was a ghetto gagging bed wench that no black man should sit up there and deal with.
All right. That's it for the audio. The links in the chat room if y'all want to come up and express on the subject, y'all take y'all thoughts and feelings. I put it in the chat room. Like I said before, and there are many more. I mean, many more, loosely, of stories like this. People that call in and their take on the direction what black men does or how he moves, which I find it weird. Because let's be honest, most dudes today, they're not really too focused on what black women they're doing because, or actually, the average normal black man is doing what he should be doing. You know, you might find some here that's, I guess, watching the pussy, but majority of men that's doing what they're supposed to do, and they're not really focused on what these women are doing. The only time when there's an issue is when they come around certain space and want to, either troll or antagonize a lot of black males that say they got this and they're not dealing with this man and they're doing better. I mean, like I said, I had to call it out. Say, if you really do better and you find better, then the message that a lot of these males are doing should be irrelevant. You have moved forward. You have gotten your prize and everything should be going good. But from what I'm noticing now, and it's beyond trolling, I'm noticing it's very weird that you don't got what you want and you really want a black man, unfortunately. Oh, okay. Let me see what this message wrote. Behind closed doors, a black man can hit these divested chicks. Don't even believe what they said, but now it's possible to say that they fantasize about black men, and they should. Miss Waterproof Bryant, because, and my thing is this: the only time why the European has a leg up in the West, one, he is more the majority in this country, and two, the illusion that he has more resource and money. And we look at the average right now, and the mates that a lot of black men are getting out of these white men, they're not getting the 80% of the top of the Caucasian man. They're getting someone that's in the 20%. Some of them potentially are socially awkward. Some might be potentially on drugs. You hear the stories. If you look at a lot of stories that one time Mr. Supreme covered, one time, and the stories when a lot of black women have met their maker from dating out. A lot of these non-black men are not doing anything much no different, more better than, let's say, the black man that's doing what he should be doing. I heard stories. One woman, and she's probably not ADOS, was dating a dude that did drugs. I heard one woman, actually, now that it came to me, that she was messing around with a Caucasian man that did a lot of drugs. And she said she was young at the time when dating him. But I'm thinking, saying, if you saying that this man is doing a lot better, why are you as a black woman dealing with a non-black man that's has history in doing drugs? Should be you dealing with the ones that's 80%, the 80% out of their community that's supposed to be head straight and doing what they're supposed to be doing. If that's the case, but what I've noticed is a different conversation, because they will, if they can't get the top of their own communities, they only gonna be qualified and get one of the lowest, which is 20%. And that goes all across the board. I mean, some dudes, if you look at some black males, they also get 20% of their women as well. As much as I don't want to say it, but it is true. We're not getting the best in regards outside the race when it comes to them. And they are the majority than us. And that is the point. And you know why, Miss Waterproof, Brian, why they hold the black man to different standards to them? Because if they hold the same high expectation and standards like they hold for the modern, the above average black man, simple, is because he's not going to meet their fulfilling standards. It's always something that they have to keep pushing the goalposts. And the reason why, because they want to keep antagonized, because either they don't measure up or they just want to get on your nerves, because they go outside and find the other non-black mate. And that standards has dropped. They're so dropped that they're dealing with, like I said, with drug addict non-black men. Some of them probably might not have state employment. Some might have some resource, and they have the same complaints. And they will stay with them because at the end of the day, having some form of whiteness is enough, or anything of light skin or white skin, because it removes all imperfections. And hell, if they play the cards right, they might have a baby with it, and might be a single mother, which most of them do become single mothers, because unfortunately, I remember covering this on another video months ago, how all groups of males, the women have more children than the males here. But every other race of men, they have more children than their female counterparts, except this community, the black community. And it's very problematic to know, saying, if our women have more children than us, they're not having it with the so-called, they consider the 8 or 10% of, what is it? Was it 8, 10%? Or whatever percent of black males? They say they're having them with other groups of men that's leaving and making them single mothers. But at least they get the good hair out of the deal, which they don't mind, because really truly most black people today, they want to change their genetics as fast as possible. So it's safer to function in the society, in this country. And they know living and operating as a black person, it is sinful, it's painful, it's hurtful. And the only way you're going to have some salvation in America, to a lot of the think of a lot of black people, is you're going to have to change your genetics. That means you're going to have to probably sleep and procreate out. And that's just the honest truth. I don't want to keep it real, but I have to keep real with y'all. It is the honest truth. And, I remember B just said that, they're absorbing the black race as we speak, because the Gen Zs are the ones that's going to probably further push the absorption rate. I don't like absorption. Personally, I don't think it's natural, but I'm just a critic. But like I said, most people think that absorption is a normal phenomenon. It is somewhat, I think, abnormal, but you gotta be insane and sick in your head to accept things that they push as normal in the 21st century. Well, I know. All right. Let me see if I can get some people on the phone lines. getting the lines ready. Let me see if Mr. Miller is available. I'm gonna get some take, and then I'm probably gonna close this down because I think I said enough. All right, he's not responding. Oh, matter of fact, let me see if D Darrell's there. Let's see if I can find him. All right, guys, let me see if D Darrell can get online.
Please leave your.
All right, oh, he's busy. All right, so last caller, I'm probably gonna open up, see if Mr. Tyrell Thompson's there. And after this, I'm calling it night because I said enough on here. And like I said, since people are sitting there listening, which is good, let me get Mr. Tyrell Thompson's view on this. Hey, what's good, Tyrell? Hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask a question, Tyrell. Okay, I'm doing a subject now on this, and get your take because you're older than me. Do you hardly believe in the question that's laid out here? Does the white skin remove all imperfections? And if you want me to give you details, what I mean by this is that black people see white people as perfect, and they don't view that being in front of them or getting proximity to them is going to better them to the point. So they view themselves as imperfect and all the above to the point we defend and protect them in all classes, even go as far as date them and make excuse to why they create the problem that we face as community. So that's my question.
Well, I'm pretty sure their community probably has that psychological problem, but I don't. As a matter of fact, it's imperfect. The whole way they evolved over history has been all about, this, I'm the king of the world and you need to follow me and all that kind of stuff. So that ain't the way humanity need to get along, in my opinion. So to your question, I guess your question was, do you see the white skin as perfect? But
yeah, and one white skin that when black, because racial aspect that they can't do no wrong. So people that view, race in a way and looking at acceptance or seeking acceptance, they look at it as a white skin thing that the white they are, damn it, white is perfect. So they think it's all good. I have to protect it.
That's their cultural. I think that's their cultural ignorance. And of course, in our community, we might have some of that problem when it comes to colorism. Yeah. Because people think that, that there's this narrative out there that light skin is better than dark skin and all that kind of dumb shit. But, I don't know. But with them, if you're talking specifically about the Anglo white person, they got that problem in their culture where they think they're better than anybody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so like I said, and it's an old form by Mr. Carroll, because he always reiterate on his podcast or his streams about white skin, and view white skin as perfect in every way. And I'm just going more deeper into that little rabbit hole of things. That I played the audio of a woman calling in, and she wanted black men to go, and she's defending so-called white men that she, has sex with. That's perfect, and she said that the white man, only thing the white man does wrong is he has white guilt. That's the only thing she see as a flaw that the white man has.
Well, see, that person is crazy. I don't know what else to say. If somebody that think like that, I listen, I hear them, but obviously that person got some problems. So I don't even, let that sink into my soul. Whatever somebody like that is saying. I've learned to ignore all these crazy people, man.
Cause remember, you had the same issue with someone that did shows on your channel. You remember, and like I said, they defend this non-black man to the day and to the last days. You get me?
Right.
And I tell you, Tyrone, you got a lot of crazy people on your side, man. More than me. I don't come across these crazy people. Only time I come across them is through the internet.
Well, like I said, I learned to ignore it, right?
Yep.
But at the same time, I have enough tolerance to be entertained by it and try to see exactly the psychology behind these people. How do you think? You grew up in this country as an African American, and now all of a sudden you've got this viewpoint. How did you get there? That's what I'd be looking for. It's not that I agree with them or anything like that. I just like to, pick their heads and see what they're thinking.
Okay. Well, my thinking how to get this way is with the help of institution promoting pushing whiteness, because it's something you have to be inherently learning this, and not only what you see with subliminal messages like television and stuff. And there's a very weird science with television that they never talk about. That, and I saw this was on IG or something, and it showed that the modern television, if you think about it, Tyrone, is they always start off with a black screen. Did you know there was some in ancient time where they had a mirror that's black? It reflects.
I didn't know that.
And they took that science from the mirror because it's supposed to cast some type of allure spell where you see it, you get gravitated to it. So when the image comes up, you are psychologically being programmed with 1,000 images. So there's a science.
There might be some type of stuff like that because
it's a science. It's a science.
I mean, Facebook and YouTube and all of these places, Twitter, they actually designed their software to entice the endorphins in the brain to make you more addictive to their platform. You see what I'm saying? So television have known that back in the day that you can get people to crave whatever you're looking at. I'm pretty sure it went into some type of marketing to find that stuff out. So I'm pretty, and they don't tell the customers or subscribers that that's what they're doing, but that's what they're doing because people keep going back to these platforms.
Yeah. And they go back to these platforms personally, because it's something that they already drawn or gravitate towards. So it makes sense why they will go back, Tyrone. Because why not go back to? Because they already know what you like to watch. Algorithm picks up of what you click bait, just like social media. Wherever you click or when you're saying verbally through your phone or any other electronic device, they're going to push certain narratives and certain images to you, certain channels that will vibrate what you're thinking. Remember, Facebook years ago always said, "What's on your mind?" They had to change it because they know people were picking on when they're trying to know what you're thinking, and you put my text and post is feed to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it could be that, or Gary, it could be a gesture. Now think about what all of these platforms have in common, and it's very simple. And I'll tell you, on every one of these platforms, you've got to do this action, and it's scroll up. You always got to scroll. You see what I'm saying? Now I don't know typically what that does to the brain, but there's a reason why every platform got you scrolling. You see what I'm saying? So that, just standing back looking and say, what do these things have in common? Well, you got to scroll. I don't know what the hell that means, but every one of them you got to scroll. Even YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all them places you got to scroll up. I don't know what that means, but it does something to you.
Yeah, what it's doing is, like I said, you're being psychologically programmed at the end of the day. And with the program, how deep the program is, you're going to be gravitating and being indoctrinated very easy. See, I said this before. Words have meaning. Reading it might mean something different to you than me, but it does not grab your attention where you're going to easily be programmed. It's the image. Just like I said earlier about psychological today, when they talk about the single lonely men, you know what they did to really convey their message? That a lot of people never pay attention. I think it applies to all men, but when I look at if I've read it, the first thing that comes to my mind when I click onto it is that an image of a non-black man, a Caucasian man. And right there it said, you're not talking about men in general. You put an image of what you're trying to convey, or what the article is really focused on. And people don't pay attention. We don't pay attention to words. We pay attention to what image you put out there. And me as man, if we know if a picture is 1,000 images, that's the first thing that'll come to your head. But we don't really think on that because we say that anybody puts out any article that's dealing with the situation between man and woman. If that was the case, you don't put no image. You just put the information as is, and then let people determine what is really talking about everybody, every man. But we know, behold, it's not talking about it, because the first thing you put an image of one of your own.
Right.
So right there, the mind and the brain is going to pick up something different just by that picture alone. And that's the first thing that I noticed when I click onto it to find out what they was talking about. And it's not talking about every man. They're talking about a certain group of men. Now, I'm not saying that black men can't be single lonely, but that's common now. You get me?
Mm-hmm.
That's been common. Dudes that can't get the women they just don't get them. They're ass out. That's nothing new. But like I said, yeah, people got to pay attention to any hit piece that's put out here throughout the internet. You know, and I think really it was done because of the passing of Mr. Samuels. So now they come up with all these psychological articles, stuff that never came out before, but it come out now after he's gone, and I always had to have red flags. You get me? So
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, those people take advantage of it, but as we were talking before, these bigger corporations, like I literally seen I think it was a Netflix documentary where Silicon Valley, that's what they do, is they monitor people's action, and whatever gets the positive rewards, then that's what they'll promote to you more and more and more. So whenever you're talking about these guys that's talking about this subject matter, obviously there's a lot of people interested in it because they keep pushing it. So that's how this negative guy, the last one you just talked, probably rose to the top, because his subject, you know, there was a lot of people interested in it. So they don't necessarily mean that he's good. I mean, he's good at what he do because he got a lot of subscribers. But I'm saying the algorithm helps him out because people is interested in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and remember, he's marketed easy because he solves the problem, because he's an image consultant. And I don't want to make this about him. I want people to understand a bigger point, that when they have these things out here, it's always for a greater message and almost a greater more program. So keep in mind why they put these stuff out here, you know. So, all right. Anything else, Tom? Before I let you go?
No. I'm good, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Thank you. That's Tom Thompson from TRS, guys. And that's pretty much it, guys. So, like I said, overall, the white skin does remove all imperfections to black people, men and women. You keep that in mind. So what Mr. Carroll said years ago actually holds weight. But that's it. If you're new to Chaos Rain channel, make sure you subscribe to the Chaos Rain channel. Make sure you hit that red button and that top notification bell for uploads and live streams here on the Chaos Rain channel. Also, follow me on Twitter at ChaosRain7. And add me on Facebook, Eric Rain on Facebook. And join the Discord servers of Chaos Rain. That is on the About section on the Chaos Rain channel. And those are all the links. Thank you guys for listening to today's stream. Look forward to hearing from y'all in the comment sections or wherever. And we'll do this again soon. And like always, you know where to find me. The Chaos Rain!